The studio door opened at 2 p.m. at Montreux, Switzerland, July 1981, mountain studios overlooking Lake Geneva. Queen was inside, recording their 10th album, Hot Space. They'd been there for weeks, working, experimenting, pushing boundaries. Then David Bowie walked in. Nobody expected him. Not even Bowie himself knew he'd end up there that day. What happened in the next 24 hours would create one of rock's most iconic collaborations. But it almost didn't happen. In fact, it almost ended in disaster. This is the story of Under Pressure, the song that nearly destroyed itself before it was born. The unexpected arrival. Let's rewind. July 1981. David Bowie was in Montreux on vacation. He just finished the Scary Monsters album and needed a break. Switzerland was quiet, peaceful, far from the madness of Los Angeles or New York. Queen was also in Montreux. They'd been recording at Mountain Studios, a place they loved. The studio had a unique vibe, small, intimate, with massive windows overlooking the lake. You could see the Swiss Alps in the distance. Freddie Mercury owned a house nearby. He loved Montreux. "It's the only place where I can breathe," he once said. That afternoon, Bowie was walking near the studio. He knew Queen was recording. They'd met before at parties, award shows, industry events. Mutual respect existed, but they'd never worked together. On impulse, Bowie knocked on the studio door. Brian May answered. "David, what are you doing here?" "I was just passing by," Bowie said, that famous half-smile on his face. "Thought I'd say hello." "Come in," May said. "We're just messing around anyway." Bowie walked into the studio. Freddie was at the piano, Roger Taylor at the drums, John Deacon tuning his bass. "Well, well," Freddie said, standing up. "Look what the cat dragged in." Bowie laughed. "Hello, darling." They hugged. Two titans of rock, genuinely pleased to see each other. "Want a jam?" Freddie asked. Bowie shrugged. "Why not? I've got nothing better to do." It was supposed to be an hour, maybe two, just friends making noise together. Instead, it became 24 hours of creative warfare. John Deacon started it. Around 3 p.m., while everyone was tuning up and joking around, Deacon began playing a bass line. Simple, repetitive, hypnotic, dum-dum-dum-da-da-dum-dum. Everyone stopped talking. That bass line, it had something. "What is that?" Bowie asked. "Just something I was fooling with," Deacon said quietly. He was the quiet one in Queen. Never said much, but when he did, people listened. "Play it again," Freddie said. Deacon played it again. Dum-dum-dum-da-da-dum-dum. Roger Taylor started adding drums. Simple, just supporting the bass. Brian May picked up his guitar, added a chord progression. Freddie sat at the piano, started improvising. Bowie stood there, watching, listening, his mind already racing. "This could be something," he said quietly. "Could be," Freddie agreed. But neither of them knew yet. Neither of them understood what was about to happen. Within 20 minutes, they had the basic structure, a groove, a feeling, something raw and urgent. "We should record this," Brian May said. Everyone agreed. The tape started rolling, and that's when the problems began. Two kings, one studio. Here's the thing about David Bowie and Freddie Mercury. Both were geniuses. Both were perfectionists. Both were used to being the leader, the visionary, the one in charge. Put them in the same room with the same song, disaster waiting to happen. Around 5 p.m., they started working on the structure. The verses, the chorus, the bridge. Freddie had ideas, strong ideas. "It should build," he said. "Start quiet, then explode. Drama, opera, that's what this needs." Bowie disagreed. "No, it should be tense throughout. Anxiety, pressure. That's the whole point." Freddie stared at him. "Darling, I've been making hit songs for 10 years. Bowie smiled. "So have I, darling." The temperature in the room dropped. Brian May later described it. "You could feel the ego clash. Two massive forces colliding. We all just sat there, watching, wondering if this would fall apart." But they kept going, because underneath the tension was respect. Both knew the other was brilliant. Both wanted the song to be perfect. They just had very different ideas of what perfect meant. By 8 p.m., they had the music mostly done. The structure was solid, the groove was hypnotic. Now came the hard part, lyrics. Freddie started improvising. His style was theatrical, dramatic, big emotions. Why can't we give love that one more chance? Bowie listened, nodded, then added his own lines. His style was more abstract, more anxious. Pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you. They went back and forth. Freddie's lines, Bowie's lines, Freddie's lines, Bowie's lines. Sometimes they agreed, often they didn't. That's too sentimental, Bowie would say about Freddie's lyrics. That's too cold, Freddie would reply about Bowie's. Roger Taylor watched from behind his drum kit. Years later he'd say, it was scary. I thought at any moment one of them would storm out, but they didn't. They kept pushing, kept fighting, kept creating. Around 11 p.m., they hit a wall. This isn't working, Freddie said, frustrated. He stood up from the piano. Maybe we should just scrap it. Everyone froze. Bowie stood there, silent, thinking. Then he said, no, we're close. I can feel it. Close to what? Freddie asked. A disaster? Close to something real, Bowie said. Something that matters. Freddie looked at him. A long look. Testing, measuring. One more hour, Freddie finally said. If we don't crack it, we stop. Bowie nodded. Fair enough. Midnight. The studio was thick with cigarette smoke and tension. They'd been at it for 10 hours. Everyone was exhausted. Tempers were fraying. Then Bowie said something that changed everything. What if we're both right? Freddie looked up. What do you mean? Your lyrics, they're about love, hope, connection. Mine are about fear, anxiety, collapse. What if the song is about both? The push and pull. The pressure of trying to love in a world that's falling apart. Silence. Then Freddie smiled. A real smile. You clever bastard. That was it. The key. The song wasn't just about pressure. It was about the contradiction. The need for love versus the weight of existence, hope versus despair, connection versus isolation. They started rewriting, weaving their styles together, Freddie's warmth with Bowie's cold, Freddie's hope with Bowie's fear. Why can't we give love that one more chance? This is our last dance. By 3 a.m., they had it. The lyrics were done. The vocals were recorded. Both of them trading lines, overlapping, harmonizing, clashing, merging. The song was finished. Everyone sat in silence, listening to the playback. Under pressure, Brian May had tears in his eyes. That's incredible. Roger Taylor nodded. I've never heard anything like it. John Deacon just smiled quietly. Freddie and Bowie looked at each other, exhausted, exhilarated, relieved. We did it, Freddie said. We survived each other, Bowie replied. They both laughed, a real, genuine laugh, the tension finally breaking. Around 6 a.m., they finally left the studio. The sun was rising over Lake Geneva. The mountains were pink with dawn light. Bowie lit a cigarette. Freddie joined him. That was brutal, Freddie said. Worth it, though, Bowie replied. Do you think people will get it? Freddie asked. What we were trying to do. Bowie shrugged. Does it matter? We got it. That's enough. Freddie smiled. You're right. They stood there for a moment watching the sunrise. We should do this again sometime, Freddie said. Bowie laughed. Absolutely not. I don't think I could survive another session with you. Likewise, darling. They shook hands, hugged, said goodbye. Neither of them knew it would be one of their last times together. Under Pressure was released in October 1981. It went to number 1 in the UK, top 30 in the US. But the charts don't tell the real story. The real story is what happened in that studio. Two titans of rock, fighting, clashing, pushing each other to create something neither could have made alone. Years later, Brian May said, That song shouldn't exist. By all logic, it should have fallen apart. But somehow, through all the ego and tension, magic happened. Roger Taylor called it the scariest recording session he'd ever been part of. I kept thinking, this is going to explode, but it didn't. It became something beautiful. Freddie Mercury never spoke much about the session, but once, in an interview, he said, "Bowie taught me something that night. He taught me that collision can create beauty, that you don't have to compromise, you have to collide." And Bowie? Years later, he called it one of the most intense creative experiences of my life. Freddie was a force of nature. Working with him was like dancing with a hurricane. The hidden meaning. Here's what most people don't know about Under Pressure. It was written during the Cold War. Reagan and Thatcher were in power. Nuclear anxiety was everywhere. The world felt like it was teetering on the edge. The pressure in the song isn't just personal. It's global, existential. The pressure of living in a world that might end at any moment. But underneath that darkness is the plea. Why can't we give love that one more chance? That's what Bowie and Freddie understood. That's what they fought for in that studio for 24 hours. And that's why, 40-plus years later, the song still matters. Freddie Mercury died in 1991. AIDS. David Bowie died in 2016. Cancer. But Under Pressure lives on. Every time someone plays it, that 24-hour session comes back. The tension, the genius, the near collapse, the triumph. Two legends in one room. One song that almost didn't happen. One masterpiece that's now immortal. And somewhere, in some cosmic recording studio, maybe they're at it again. Fighting, laughing, creating, under pressure, always under pressure, but making magic anyway. What do you think? Could you survive 24 hours in a studio with a genius? Drop a comment, share this story. And remember, the greatest art often comes from the greatest collisions.